Hey guys, so I first wanted to thank everyone who voted for me for the MXA contest. I'm now in the second round and actually be on lookout for that post tomorrow. There's lots of pictures. If you remember the pictures from last year, it's kind of like that. Not as crazy, I guess you'd say, but it's going to be fun, and I can't really say anything about it because we're not allowed to go live about that stuff until tomorrow. Um, so I figured I would talk about Chrono Trigger since I didn't get to write a review. I really haven't had too much time, just enough time to be on here, read everyone's blogs, blah, blah, blah. So, I beat Chrono Trigger about, what, it had to be like 2 weeks ago now. And if you're not familiar with the game, it was originally for Super Nintendo, and it came out in 1995 in the US, I think, if I remember correctly. I did a review on Console Tard if you want to look for that, but I'm just going to spout out some facts if I remember correctly. So, I believe it was 1997 when they came out with the PlayStation version. They didn't do too much. It's still 8-bit, just like the Super Nintendo version, minus a couple anime cutscenes, which is, it's kind of nice. It's something new. If you're familiar with the Lunar games, it's kind of like that, although the cutscenes are maybe 5 or 6. It's not a ton like the Lunar series. So that's my version. They just did a version, I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, for the DS with, new graphics and everything, and a new alternate ending, and a new boss. I'm not too familiar with it because I haven't played it, but I think it's done well. I'm not quite sure. So, as far as I know, it's also available in the Wii Store now with the Super Nintendo version, and it's supposedly coming out for the PlayStation Network. There's also rumors about it being remade for PlayStation 3, though every time I look, there's really nothing about it. It's kind of like the whole remake of Final Fantasy VII for PlayStation 3. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. So, let's see. Personally, my favorite character was Isla. She's from 65 million BC or something. Billion BC, million BC. There's a lot of zeros. She actually doesn't have a weapon, and no ultimate weapon, no nothing. The only thing you can equip to her are her defense stuff, and extra stuff, like an amulet. But I always added like a vest to her and stuff like that. But she fights with her hands, and it was pretty cool. She actually just gets stronger and stronger, and she's pretty awesome. Out of all the characters, she's probably the second strongest next to Chrono. My favorite team was Chrono, Isla, and Marle. Marle is a healer mostly. Frog can do some healing, but she gets the cure spell. She gets the haste spell, and she gets life too, though she doesn't get life. Chrono has life. I'm not quite sure how that works, but whatever. She also is able to use ice magic, so she was interesting. I liked her, and her character was very interesting, and she's one of the first characters you meet aside from Chrono, so, it's just, I like to use those couple characters. Luca was kind of cool in the beginning, but I don't know, she just bothered me. Robo, I hardly ever used. Frog was cool in the very beginning. I used him a lot, actually. Yeah, he was really interesting. His backstory is really cool too, and his strongest weapon is pretty awesome. Let me think. So if you're not familiar with the storyline, it actually, obviously, if you're familiar with any of like old mythology, Chrono is the god of time. Chronos is the god of time. So this is kind of about time travel. You travel between, I think it's 5 different eras, and you can also stop at 1999, which is the apocalypse. Yeah, in 1995, I guess that was kind of pretty, um, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of it right now because my head is blanking. But at that point, I mean, think of the year 2000 and how we thought the world was going to end. Basically, in the year 1000, which is the present time, Chrono meets this girl Marl, and she gets sucked into this time wave via Luca's time machine. And at that point, he must travel to 600 AD, I think, which is that's not the Middle Ages at that point, but I forget what they called that one. They all have special names, whatever. So he goes back, he has to find her, but in the end they also get to go to 2300 AD, which is after the apocalypse and the world is gross. Actually, if you stay outside in the map too long, you lose some HP. You also travel back to prehistoric times, which Isla's from, and you get to ride dinosaurs. And at that point, there's lizards overrunning the world as well that are like humanoid lizards. I don't know. So, you get to travel through all these different time periods, and it's actually really fun because the stuff you do in the past actually does affect the future, especially in the side quests. One of the side quests I really liked was you get to take Robo, you leave him in the year 600, and then in the year 1000 you come back and this field has been tilled and everything, and it's been hundreds of years obviously, and you get to go into this shrine that was made for him, and you have to get him back. It's actually really interesting. He's all rusted out and blah blah blah. But basically everything you do affects the future years, and you're trying to fight Lavos, who's the main enemy, before 1999, because if you defeat him before then, the apocalypse isn't going to happen, and so that's really the whole storyline. And he was actually pretty tough. I was surprised how long it took me to fight him. He has 3 parts, and one side has like 2000 HP. It's really easy. His body has about, I don't know, off the top of my head, maybe 10 to 15,000, and then he has this, I don't know how many hit points was on this right hand, but it was ridiculous. And in order to hurt the right hand, you had to use magic, but the left hand had to be taken out with physical attacks before that, which was really easy. You just use a special attack, and you can take out the body as well, which does actually probably the worst amount of damage to you. But as you fight this right piece, the body and the left piece regenerate consistently. So it took quite a while to really get down a sort of pattern to take out each and every one. Really was take out the left one, do some magic that will cause damage to both the body and the right piece until the body dies. Then do as much damage as you can to the right piece, and then rinse and repeat because everything would be regenerated. It was a pain. I had some awesome items though that would heal me altogether, so I didn't have to sit here and heal one at a time, and it was a pain. Let me think. Overall, I give the game an A. I friggin' loved it. I liked the combat system, especially for 1995. I mean, everything was from Square at least, everything was the same. Final Fantasy was just turn-based, turn-based, turn-based. And this one, it's turn-based, but you can combine attacks. That's really the cool part. As you fight, you gain tech points, and these points create new moves for your characters, and they can combine them, doing also like extra amounts of damage. Frog and Chrono had a particularly really good move, and Isla and Chrono really at the end of the game they were doing a ton of damage together. And I think if you do it correctly, somehow I managed to get a triple move, and Marl, Isla, and Chrono, put that one together. I'm not quite sure. I forget what it was called, but it did a lot of damage, and it was actually really useful. So I can't complain. Let me think. Other than that, I don't know. Overall, I enjoyed the game. I'm much better at writing this stuff. I probably should have written a review because I'm just not good at talking like this, and I'm awkward. But yeah, overall, I'd give the game an A plus even, and I definitely want to replay it again. There's actually 13 different endings you can get, and now that I'm playing the new game plus mode, which I have to start, you can actually beat Lavos within like the first hour with just Chrono and Marl, if you're able to do so. We'll see. I mean, my level didn't rise that much, so I think I beat Lavos with level 50, but the three of them, level 50 something. I don't know if I'll be able to beat Chrono or Lavos with just Chrono and Marl. Yeah, I may just have to take a different ending and then play it again, but we'll see. So yeah, questions, questions about the game, I can answer them. I'm just really awkward at doing this part. But if you write them, I'll write them back. I'll write an answer to you, and I'm just curious what everyone else thought about Chrono Trigger. See ya.